enough of that. Enough of that. Blah 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 blah. All right, we are here. It is time to start up this show. Oi, fellow comrades, it is Squidtard here, along with my good old pals, Mr. Lucas Sharp and Julio, who just got his PFP. Hello. I love that.
Yeah. Well, I try to change it up
And
every
what a
now
day
and
to do
again.
it,
So
as today is October 15th, which, in hindsight, for a lot of you, is probably not a special day. But if you know anything about today, is the 1 year anniversary of what was one of the greatest kicks that we've seen in college football history and, Tennessee football history, and a big win over the Alabama Crimson Tide. So it is officially Bama Hate Week. And what better way to start it off than mentioning that? Yeah, 52-49 on that.
actually, I didn't even know it was the 1 year anniversary. So it's kind of great. I figure since it's Alabama
Well,
week, I
now
have
you
that
do.
picture saved.
So yeah, we got a lot to talk about on today's show. There's plenty of things that need to be addressed. Some things not so good. Some things maybe also good. But a lot of events in college football. And Janine Senti's here in the chat. Good to see you. How about them Vols? Gosh darn right. How about them Vols? We managed to at least. It was an ugly win, very ugly win. But we pulled it out and got the W, and that's all that matters. In any other year, that would have been a game we absolutely would have lost. So good to see that things have changed under Josh Heupel to where winning a game like that is disappointing. So, yeah, good way to start out the week at least to see a dub for Tennessee. But there is some things we seriously need to have addressed, and some people may not like it, but that's just the way it is. So let's start. So I don't know if you guys saw the video, Mr. Lucas and Julio, but I made a video earlier today discussing my thoughts on the offensive situation, and I made a video after the Florida game talking about I think people need to respect Joe Milton. They need to support him. They need to say that he's gonna. I think he's the guy that's gonna run this offense. He's the guy that deserves to run this offense. The whole ordeal. And I talked about that. I talked about Joe Milton being the guy. Well, my mind has officially been changed. Last night was probably one of the worst performances I've seen out of any quarterback at Tennessee. And unlike how quarterbacks should do, Joe Milton continuously gets worse every single week, and that is a huge problem. In the Texas A&M game, he got 100 yards total, and one touchdown, which is a dump off to Jacob Warren, and then that boneheaded interception in the end zone, which nearly cost us the win. So just a terrible performance overall. The running backs had a great performance. We were leaning so heavily on our running backs that it was an awful performance on offense. There's a lot of good that came from the win. Of course, it's proven that once again D. Williams is probably the best return man in the country, and that the defense played an exceptionally great game, phenomenal game even. A lot of great performances overall on the defense. James Pierce Jr. Just a phenomenal game out of him. Just a continuous level of production over on the defense. So I'm glad to see that things have worked out well in that department. But the offense and especially the quarterback play has gotten so stale at this point that there needs to be something to be discussed. So what did you guys think of the game? What were your general thoughts coming from that Texas A&M game?
Well, I love the defense. The offense, like you just went over, isn't not what I expect under this coaching staff. But at least it looks like Tim Banks has finally got the defense. Clicking on all cylinders. It seems like for the
Right.
most part, because I know that the only game that I really think the defense did bad in would have been, of course, the Florida game. But even then, I think other than the other than those couple plays, I felt like they had an okay game. Like, I mean, they didn't even allow 30 points, which is, we used to, average, letting up 30 points, and now letting up 29 is like really bad for this defense. So,
Yeah, definitely. Lucas, any other thoughts from you?
Uh, all I gotta say is it was nice I guess to see us win a game like that. It could show that we can win games without our supposed gimmicky offense. Uh, it shows I guess we have a gimmicky
yeah.
defense
Yeah.
now. I guess I don't know. But yeah, man, shout out to the defense. They played really well, especially our defensive line. Our defensive line played extremely well. And Kamal Hadden, I, I've already apologized to him on Twitter. I was
If
not
there's
familiar with
anybody,
his game.
if there's
He
anybody in
had
the
a
live
good,
chat that needs to fill out the apology papers for Kamal Hadden, go ahead and do that now.
yeah, I already did. Sorry, Kamal Hadden. I was not familiar with your game, sir. Uh, but yeah, he had he had a solid game last night. I'll admit. Also did, of course, James Pierce Jr. He was attacking Max Johnson the entire time. I did not see a single play where he didn't even where he did not get close to him at all. But yeah, I just wanted to also point this out. If you don't know who Solon Surf is on Twitter, make sure you go follow him. He has said that he states here that Tennessee is third in sacks in the nation, third in tackles for loss per game in the nation, 17th in total defense, 24th in pass defense efficiency, 20th in rush yards per game allowed, and 10th in first down defense. This defense has completely turned it around, and I don't know why. It seems like every single time. Sometimes I'm on the fire of Tim Banks train, and then the other times I'm not. I don't know. It seems like every now and then Tim Banks decides to call a good game, then the other day he doesn't. I don't know what it is with Tim Banks, but if he keeps this up, then then yeah, I want him to stay at
Right.
Tennessee.
I have never had to say this season, and I'm glad I haven't, but I've never had to say fire Tim Banks or anything close to that. The only time I've really been frustrated with our defense was when on third down and third and longs, you try and keep everything in front of you and, try and not let the big play happen, let them get a 50-yard pass for a touchdown, but you also let them get the 3rd and 17 needed to get the first down. So the prevent on third down and the pansy ass, that type of play style irks me to no end. But, regardless of that, the defense has played exceptionally well. And even with all the third down, stupidity, that's far less, that's like not even top 10 in our problems right now. Well, actually, it could be. Because our main problem right now, of course, is our offense. Just the...
Yeah, well, specifically the passing offense. The rushing offense.
Do you guys remember
played
Georgia
amazing.
Tech before? Not just Brent Key, but Jeff Collins got there. Georgia Tech under Paul Johnson, the triple option. Right now, Tennessee's running the single option. We got run up the middle, and that's our game plan. And that's what's making me so irritated. And I talked about that in my halftime video. Because that was so irritating. Just the continuous same amount of the runs up the middle. And now, truth be told, I think that lies into a big problem with this offense. And, I talked about Joe Milton. I talked about how horrible of a game he played yesterday. And now I'm at the point where it's time that, for the Joe Milton experiment to end, because it's obvious he doesn't have it. It's the same problems every single week. Overthrowing wide receivers, underthrowing, the same exact problems. Look, Joe Milton could throw to my house from Neyland Stadium, but he's not going to hit my house. He's going to either hit over my house or he's going to hit 20 yards below. It's not going to hit my house. He cannot hit a receiver. And then really kind of the straw that broke the Squidtard's back was when Joe Milton was stepping back in the pocket. We were at like the 15-yard line, and all he had to do is maybe make a dump off pass, and it was closer to getting that touchdown, or at least settle for a field goal. But Joe Milton steps back in the pocket, finds a receiver who's in double coverage, throws right to the Texas A&M DB. It's picked off, and that could have, if Texas A&M didn't have the offense like Iowa, that could have eventually ended the game in their favor. So,
yeah, and one thing I really didn't like was that fourth and 2. Personally, I was fine for going on that. I loved the aggressiveness. I don't know about you guys, but I was fine with going for it on 4th and 2. I was just disappointed in the play call. That was a terrible play call. And Joe Milton just completely running out of bounds.
Exactly.
Like, what are you doing, man? Even Josh Heupel was sitting there like, dude, what the heck was that?
It's a lack
like,
of
literally.
decision making. And the fact that he's done this
Yeah.
again, it's. You remember 2 years ago against Ole Miss, this exact same thing happened. He runs out of bounds with no time left on the clock. We lose the game. Now, what he did wasn't to the severity of that, but it's the exact same problem. Just like the overthrows and the poor decision making, it's the same problem every single week. And the truth of the matter is, it's not going to get any better. He's been in college for 6 years, and it's gotten to the point now to where they're doing what they did with Jarrett Germinamo, and the PA announcers are talking about how much of a great guy Joe Milton is. And that's true. Joe Milton's a great guy. I think he's a very respectable person.
He is.
I think even if he is the nicest guy on the entire planet, that doesn't translate to being a good quarterback. And of course, I want Joe Milton to succeed. You know, you have these clowns on the internet that they decided in the offseason that Milton was no good. He's never going to be any good. I hate him. He sucks. He's terrible. I just want him to be gone. And then he makes one mistake, and there's called it. And now these clowns, while they're not exactly correct in a way because of the way they think, now they've gotten to a point where they think they're correct because of how terrible Joe Milton has performed on the field. And all this to say, the main issue here is not just Joe Milton. It's the coaching staff. And the reason why is because you saw it at the end of the game when we got that interception. Judy Lawley gets the interception to almost seal the deal. All we had to do was score a touchdown. There was little time left on the clock. A&M wasn't getting two more. They weren't getting two scores in like a minute. That's all the time that was left. So all we had to do was just take it. We were at the 6-yard line. All we needed was 6 yards. And you could have done anything else, but what the coaching staff did, run up the middle, run up the middle, run up the middle. 3 plays in a row, the exact same thing.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure on the second play on second down, I'm pretty sure they actually threw the ball.
I don't think it was a throw. I think it was like a designed dump off pass. It wasn't. They didn't throw at all. They completely skipped the throwing game. They just threw that out at the end of the game. And all to say, that's the reasoning behind that was because this coaching staff is scared. They are scared to give Joe the ball.
Yeah.
They are so afraid of Joe making a mistake that they aren't even going to let him touch the ball. And that's a huge problem because you're throwing away half the offense.
Yeah, well, the other thing is, like, I think they're also scared to, like, try to shatter Nico's confidence or whatever because I guess they're afraid to put him in the game.
My solution to that, okay? My solution to that, and I've heard it. They don't trust a true freshman to go out there, especially when we play Alabama in Tuscaloosa. My solution to that is Gaston Moore, third-string quarterback. He's been under the Josh Heupel system for several years now, bless you. He's been under that system now for several years. He knows what to expect. He knows the play style. Give him the chance. Because if Milton doesn't have it, and you're too scared to let a true freshman go out on the field, then put in Gaston Moore. There's got to be a solution to this.
And hey, yeah, we've seen Gaston Moore absolutely light it up in the spring game.
Yeah, no. To be fair, that's like that's like playing Mickey Mouse East. So.
Yeah, I was just kidding.
Yeah, but here's the thing: he at least threw an accurate ball at that game.
No, it's.
Because he threw one of the most beautiful back shoulder passes into the back of the end zone.
Well, who knows? Maybe Gaston Moore isn't good. I don't know. But they're doing the exact same thing Jeremy Pruitt's staff did, and this is what pisses me off the most. JG, you remember Jarrett Germinamo, how terrible he performed in a lot of those games. But the coaching staff just could not throw him out. They just could not bench him. It was just a thing. Have you seen how he looks in practice? No! Nobody's seen how he looks in practice, and nobody cares because he sucks on the field. It's the exact same problem with Joe Milton. They will not bench him. They won't.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's like the same thing that's happening, like you said, and it's with JG. I'm going to say this. This might be a controversial opinion, but I think a lot of Jared Garantano's problems was we had way too many offensive coordinators during his time here, and that he never really got time to really learn a playbook because I feel he definitely had the arm strength, the arm talent, and he definitely was accurate at times. He was
Yeah,
accurate
no,
at times, but he
yeah.
was just a little bit too inconsistent with it. And
Yeah.
here's the thing: he was. I'm going to say this. I think he's more accurate wise than Milton, like more consistent accuracy wise.
Wouldn't be
Yeah,
shocked by
well,
that, honestly.
JG was only more accurate because he knew how to throw balls to the other team. But my point there is that
Well, yeah,
JG, even in his worst games, they just absolutely refuse to do anything about it. Coaches adjust, not just after games, but after halves. And we just have not adjust. We saw it in the Florida game. We just completely did the exact same thing we did in the first half as we did in the second half, and it cost us dearly. Every good coach knows how to make adjustments, except for ours, I guess. I don't know what the problem is, but something needs to change, and something needs to change fast because the gauntlet is coming. We got Bama in Tuscaloosa this week, and then after that it's Kentucky on the road, and then Mizzou's on the road a few weeks from that, and then of course Georgia's coming to town. And if we want to have any chance in that game, we need to switch some things up now. Otherwise, we might as well just send them the lease now and say, you're free until 2025. It's, you know,
yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing: looking at the way we're playing right now, like I think we can definitely beat Missouri. It kind of really depends on how we play, but knowing how Milton plays on the road, I'm not really too confident
mm-hmm,
about that game at
right.
the moment, considering how good they are. But I feel like if our defense can step up, we can definitely win that game. Georgia, no, I don't think we'll win that game. But I mean, Heupel's really good
Right.
at home. So,
Well,
so
all right. Well, my general solution to this is, and yeah,
Oh,
wait, oh,
Julio,
dang, that done messed
no.
up the graphic too. That's ain't that a gosh darn shame. He'll be back. Um,
Julio, no. I guess,
well, that's a bummer. He'll be back.
but yeah,
I
I
think
don't.
I
Uh,
have a solution to
man,
this.
man, he kind of went away, kind
There
of
he
just like our
is.
passing
Yeah. All
offense.
right. Boom.
it kicked me out for some reason. I don't know
I
what the
don't
hell
know. Me
happened.
neither. Me neither. Maybe it's like one of those sentient stream
But
yards, or maybe it's part of a Mark. Maybe somebody
I don't
from
know
Mark
what
Rogers'
happened.
crew is trolling. Actually, no, they'd be in the back room. I'd be able to see him. But yeah, I use the same stream yard as Mark Rogers, which is exactly why uh, uh, doing this on StreamYard is a little difficult. But we're managing it.
Oh wait, what was I saying before I got cut off? I forgot.
I
you
think.
was saying
Yeah.
something about how good
Yeah.
Heupel is at home.
Yeah. I was okay. I was gonna say, Heupel's, definitely good at home. So, but if I could see us losing a home game this year, it's definitely against Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
That's that. So, I
Yeah.
mean, looking at the schedule, here's the thing. I think we'll beat Kentucky. I don't know what the hell it is with us in Kentucky. It's kind of like how Florida is
Yeah.
with us.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. We have something over them.
I don't know. Weird stuff going on there. But my solution to this is
Yeah.
even if it is in Tuscaloosa, you've got to start a brand new quarterback. Whether it's Gaston Moore or Navy Schuler or the true freshman Nico, I'ma love you. Whichever quarterback you want to start, something has to change. Because if Joe Milton got this much pressure on him at home in a packed crowd in Neyland Stadium, what do you think's going to happen when he goes on the road into a packed Tuscaloosa crowd hungry for revenge? Yeah,
Four
Yeah.
interceptions.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing, which I've said this before, but I really don't think Tuscaloosa is that good of an environment, like away wise.
may not
People would be like,
be.
oh, but Alabama's, one. But here's the thing: the reason people had so trouble winning there wasn't because, I mean, the crowd was good. Like whenever Alabama first started getting good, because they were hungry for it. But after they won all these national championships, it's like the crowd is fucking dead half the time. It's like
Well,
they
what you're
took all the
yeah, well,
joy
the
out of
swamp,
it
yeah.
because you
Well,
won too
they
much.
they said this exact same thing about the swamp right before we played them, and then right after the game was over, man, the swamp has really been underlooked on. That might be the best environment in the SEC. So don't be surprised if that narrative shows up again once Tennessee plays Bama in Tuscaloosa.
I mean, I still think we'll more than likely probably lose, but I don't think it's because of the environment. I just think it's because
Well,
our offense
like I said,
is
that's got to change before the game starts. We got to fix it up, switch it up. Otherwise, you'll be right.
Yeah.
But then again, like you also said, they were looking out for revenge, so maybe the crowd will finally be hot for
Right.
once in Tuscaloosa, and not completely like dead. Like I feel like they've won too much to the point to where it's like the crowd don't even care about half the games
All
there
right,
unless
yeah,
it's
no,
Auburn.
definitely. All right, we're already 25 minutes through this. I feel like we've discussed this enough. It's time to focus on some of these other games. So, a lot of crazy events happened in week 7 of college football. I'll tell you that much. So, let's go ahead and reverse it back to Friday. Okay, now. Lucas, I know you weren't awake. You went to sleep when you saw Colorado up 29-0, and then you called it. Julio, were
Yeah.
you awake?
Yeah, yes, I was, and I did think about going to bed, and they were up 29-0. But then I think Stanford scored like 2
Very
touchdowns or
quick.
something, and I was like, all right, I'm going to turn the game back on. I think there's something. I think there's something.
And certainly
cooking
there
here.
was.
And I remember, I remember I was sitting there like, oh my god, they're
Yep,
actually going to do
then
this.
they did it, man. I mean, that was just there's
Yeah,
not much
and
else you could say about it other than how do you collapse that bad when you're up 29-0? You completely choked and sold it away. Forget overtime and
Yeah.
forget that insane catch by Stanford. This is a lot like the Miami Georgia Tech situation where Mario Cristobal does that boneheaded move where you don't take a knee and then Georgia Tech throws a Hail Mary and wins the game. The fact you were in that position to begin with is what's the most embarrassing part about it. So,
Yes. Yeah, so here's the thing. I think the reason, especially why they got the torch so much in the second half, because I think the receiver, did he have any yards in the
I
first
can't
half?
recall
I
if
don't
he
know if
did.
he did or not.
I'm a look.
I
it
think he
up.
had something, but it
But
wasn't
you can
like over
see
the
what
top
is.
impressive. And then just out
Yeah.
of nowhere, he makes that ungodly catch.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he caught like most of all his touchdowns and like, what, so many yards in the second half? Anyway, he caught most of them in the second half, I think, like almost all of them.
Yeah.
But
How do you let a receiver go for almost 300 yards?
Yeah, but here's the thing: is that one, I feel like Travis Hunter came back way too early from a lacerated liver. Because my mom, I don't know, I hate to say that. I was going to say this, but I have a lot of nurses in my family. And I've asked them, like, like, how many weeks do you think you should, recover from a lacerated liver if you're going to play football again and stuff
Looked
like
more
that?
like a lacerated ego, if we're being honest. He had 2 different unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. Did you guys know how many penalties Colorado had in that game? I think it was like 17.
How many? Yeah, but I asked them that, and they said, if you're gonna play football, you probably should just sit out the rest of the season if it's a lacerated liver, because you can easily lacerate it again if if it's a deep enough laceration. But he's out there again. I respect him for coming back, but here's the thing: it eventually caught up with him because he was playing all those snaps to begin with on both sides of the ball, and that's great and everything. That I admire him for trying to play both sides of the ball, but just like Shohei Ohtani, it's come back to bite you in the form of injuries.
Well, yeah.
And whenever those injuries keep piling up, you're going to ruin this career. And I feel like I know Dion knows what it's like to play both sides of the ball because he did a little bit in the NFL, but he definitely didn't play that many snaps in the NFL.
Yeah, I see your point there. What's going on, Hudson Dean? And yes, sir, glad to see you guys here in the stream. Yeah, well, that's just one of those things, And Colorado, unfortunately for them, they've got to play. They still got to play like Washington and Oregon. The schedule gets absolutely brutal for them from this point onward.
Yeah.
So they may be in
Yeah.
trouble.
Yeah, that right. Yeah, they might not make a bowl now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like I said, it'd be kind of sad if Travis Hunter doesn't live up to his potential because he decided to try to play so many snaps in college that he ended up ruining his NFL chances and stuff like that.
Well, on to the upper echelons of the Pac-12. There's a lot of Pac-12 craziness that I know, shocking crazy. But yeah, probably the biggest game of the week, of course, going into this week was Oregon and Washington, and it did not fail to deliver. Phenomenal game. Bo Nix and Michael Penix just throwing dimes on each other. It's just one team had to win, and thanks to a missed field goal by Oregon, the Huskies pulled it out and got the W at home 36-33. Phenomenal game. And Michael Penix right now has put himself at the front of the Heisman list. So, just a great game.
Yep. Yeah, I've said this before, but I've actually met Michael Penix's dad and stuff because his dad attended Tennessee Tech, which is not far from where I live. So, I'll kind of root for him to do it. Also, Penix was a former Tennessee commit.
So was Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
No, but I figured I'd mention that because Butch Jones had two quarterbacks committed before he eventually got fired. For going I guess 4-6 because the last two games, and it was Adrian Martinez who played in Nebraska and then K-State, and then the other one was Michael Penix.
Yeah, no, that's pretty awesome. All right, it was just a great game overall, and Oregon, even though they do have a loss, the schedule for this point onward is looking favorable for them, especially since a certain undefeated team got exposed. Now, this is probably, they call it upset because, actually, no, this wasn't an upset. USC was actually underdog in this game. But, yeah, 48-20, the final score of this one. Notre Dame knocks off USC. Caleb Williams seems like this is his first game where he just looked outright absolutely abysmal. He had 3 interceptions, just a terrible game by Caleb Williams. And I've been saying it all year. The moment USC has a bad offensive game, it's over. GG's, it's done. And they had a terrible game against Notre Dame. So the Fighting Irish knock off USC at home, and the way the Trojans look and how submissive they're looking right now as compared to Oregon and Washington, it's looking very unlikely they'll make the college football playoffs or even the Pac-12 championship.
Yeah, I figured it was only going to be a matter of time till USC lost because they had so many close calls, especially with Arizona, and now it finally caught up to them. And who does USC have to play next? Utah, that's probably a loss because Utah owns them.
But they have them at home. I'd be surprised if Utah pulled it out, especially without Caleb Rising, Cam Rising.
Cam Rising.
Yeah, Cam Rising.
Yeah, still Utah owns them. I think Utah wins that game because Utah owns them.
Now, here's the thing: if Utah's defense plays up to what it can and hold the USC, defense in check, and then can actually maybe do a little bit of something on offense that's not completely inept, then I feel like they can definitely win. But that's going to be a tall task, especially on the road.
Definitely. All right. So we talked about Notre Dame, and college football is a weird sport. So Notre Dame beats USC, but gets beat by Louisville. And then this week, Louisville loses to what is probably the worst ACC team in Pittsburgh. Well, Virginia, but Pittsburgh's down there when it comes to some of the worst teams. And Pitt just embarrassed them. And Louisville was undefeated, and I guess people were saying it all week. This game might be a trap game because you just got past a really good Notre Dame team. Now you're thinking all high and mighty of yourself, and now you're waltzing in, going to play Pittsburgh. You never know what might happen. And the unexpected sure did happen. Pittsburgh knocks off undefeated Louisville. Definitely shakes up the ACC from my point of view.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the possibility of there being 3 undefeated ACC teams to finish out the year is now gone.
Yeah. Let's see. I think I'm trying to think. The only 2 undefeated ACC teams left is what, Florida
is
State,
correct.
North Carolina. Do they even play in the regular season?
No,
I
they
don't
do
think
not.
they do.
They do not.
Heck, the ACC could have maybe 2 teams in the college football playoff, maybe depending on how the SEC or something like that shakes out.
If Louisville was to finish undefeated in North Carolina and FSU, then I feel like probably yeah, but
we're holding on
probably
to the thought
not
that
now.
Florida State and North Carolina might finish the season undefeated, but that ain't happening. I'll tell you that much.
I don't know, man. North Carolina's schedule looks favorable.
It looks favorable every year. What's going on, Ramajama Taylor? By the way, you guys watching, make sure if you haven't already, give this stream a like and sub up to Squidtard Sports if you haven't already. We'll be doing this show every single week. Hopefully 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I delayed it an hour because of movie night with my family. And, of course, that is very important, as we all know. So we may be doing that again next week. But I'll let you guys know and give you updates on that as we progress.
But yeah, here, like, I'm being serious. North Carolina, who they play next, they play Virginia. That's an easy win. Yeah. We can all agree on that, right? Then after that, they play Georgia Tech. That should be an easy win.
Don't they play Clemson though?
They lost to Virginia. What was it, Georgia Tech last year? Was it pretty bad?
No, it was. I mean, yeah, they did lose to Georgia Tech last year, but I think North Carolina's a better team. I think it just depends on whether or not
their defense shows up in some of these big games, which they very well could. Yeah.
Yeah, and then after Georgia Tech, they play Campbell. Who even is that? So Georgia Tech, they should be able to head 9-0. They should be 9-0 heading into the Duke game.
And we'll see how that goes.
That'll probably be their toughest game. Which, of course, the Duke North Carolina game. That's a rivalry, but it's more of a bigger rivalry, right, of course, in basketball. And then after Duke, they play Clemson on the road, and then after that, they play NC State on the road. But yeah, ESPN FPIs actually have them favored in every single game except for the Clemson game. That's the only one they have them not favored in.
So we'll see how that goes. All right, and then just some other things that I want to cover up. There was definitely, I want to talk about some other shockers from this last week. Definitely, in my mind, the most shocking team was Arizona. I don't know if y'all even saw it, but number 19 Washington State, they hosted Arizona at home, and Arizona State travels out on the road and takes a cinder block and shoves it straight up their sphincter. 44-6, the final score of this game. Arizona went on the road and just absolutely annihilated a ranked Washington State team, knocking Washington State out of any type of playoff contention.
Yeah, Arizona's actually a pretty solid team this year. They almost beat Washington. I mean, of course, you could say Washington, of course, should have won them out, but Arizona's a solid team.
USC I'm telling you. In overtime at USC, so take from that what you will.
Yeah, they're right.
I was gonna say, here's the thing about Arizona: they're a pretty young team, and they got a pretty young coach in Jed Fish. And he's actually a pretty good recruiter. I think Jalen Hyatt's little brother
actually,
is there at the moment.
Yeah, David
because
Hyatt.
Tennessee was targeting this guy as a 5-star edge rusher, like number 1 in the 2024 class, and Arizona picked him up. So he's a good recruiter.
I'm pretty sure didn't he decommit?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he just decommitted.
No. Never mind then. That's tough. Moving on. Another shocker, I will say, was LSU. So LSU Auburn has always been one of those rivalries that's been, no matter how good or bad the teams are, they always find a way to make it close. But wasn't the case this year. LSU won 48-18, absolutely annihilated Auburn at home. Jaden Daniels, another phenomenal performance by him, 325 yards through the air and 3 touchdowns. Can't ask for much more than that. They just completely fried this Auburn team. And while Auburn is no world beater, this game has always been one of those that's like tricky, weird. And I picked LSU to not cover the spread, so it turns out I was definitely wrong on that.
Yeah.
Oh, I just looked up. Yeah, he decommitted. He's predicted to Oregon right
see.
now. And then also, I was looking at the thing because they have like some like information, like if their brothers or like anyone in their family plays like college football or like any type of college sports. His dad was a tight end at Florida from 1990 to 1993.
That's interesting. I like that. Neat.
And then his brother plays safety at Arizona. So.
Nice.
But
I guess it might be his stepbrother because it's a. Wait, no,
Maybe.
no, it's his
know.
brother. I thought he had a different last name for a second, but yeah, it's his brother.
But yeah, it's gonna take Hugh Freeze a little while to rebuild that Auburn team. He needs to get in a couple more recruiting classes before he starts thinking about competing.
Yeah.
For the West.
Let's see. So Kansas, not a playoff team anymore. They lost in Stillwater to Oklahoma State. So that's
how do you lose to Oklahoma State, bro?
And then
They're
really all the other stuff, all the ranked teams, all the really really good teams: Michigan, Penn State, Florida State, Ohio State. You know, the teams that were playing other than Bama, everybody else, you know, played really really good, dominated up front. Michigan won 52-7 over Indiana. Ohio State won 41-7 over Purdue. Penn State beat UMass 63-0. Florida State beat Syracuse 41-3. But guess who didn't show up as they were supposed to? That's right, Mr. Mickey Mouse himself, the Georgia Bulldogs. Now they did win 37-20 over what we know as 6-1 Vanderbilt. As Jared would say, you know, Vandy will start at least 6-1. Didn't turn out the way Jared had hoped. They're 2-6 right now. You know, just a little worse off than what he expected. But yeah, Georgia, they won 37-20. Not an impressive showing. Now their defense played lights out per usual, except for the end of the game. They got outscored 13-10 in the fourth quarter. However, they won the game by 17. So I guess win's a win.
I don't know what it is with Georgia. They always play good against good teams, but they always play bad against bad teams.
Maybe it's just a ranked team thing.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know what
Maybe
it is
we'll
with
find
Georgia.
out when they play Florida, because Florida may be ranked not this week, but next week, because both Florida and Georgia are on a bye, of course. And Florida knocked off South Carolina in Columbia. And I will say I'm shocked by that result.
Oh.
Did you see the post-game press conference by Shane Beamer?
What cloud material did he bring to the table this time?
Didn't he have like a piece of paper and everything?
Let me see if I can
Spencer
pull it
Rattler
up
go
and
ahead and congratulate Florida for winning their Super Bowl? I think we all need to know that information.
Oh. I don't know, but another thing I forgot to mention, we forgot to talk about the best team in Colorado right now, Air Force, being 6-0 and number 22.
I thought you were going to say Colorado State, because I don't know. Wait, nobody else is awake for this, but Colorado. I actually watched the game. Colorado State beat Boise State on a game-winning Hail Mary. That was fun.
I saw that too. I was watching it too. Heck, I try to watch every game. Heck, I've even tried to watch Hawaii before.
Oh no! Yeah, no! Don't torture yourself like that, man. There's plenty of better things to do with your life past that point. All right. Well, you guys ready to talk about this next week?
Yeah. Give me another thing. I was trying to think if there was. James Madison's also the 26th ranked team right now.
Oh wow!
And they're 6-0. They got 70 votes. So if they can win, who they play next week?
I don't know. I don't know.
I was trying to
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. All right, so there's a lot of great games coming up this week. Penn State and Ohio State play. Both teams undefeated, so that one's obviously going to be a huge game. It's at Ohio State. Ohio State coming in as a 4.5-point favorite. I'm looking forward to that one for sure. UCF going on the road to play Oklahoma. What else we got in this slate? Of course, Bama and Tennessee. That's always a big game, and it's especially going to be a big game this year. South Carolina, Missouri, Minnesota versus Iowa. Nah, that ain't a big game. Why am I talking about that one?
Hey, for
Yeah, I
Sickos,
guess
it's a big
so.
game
Number
to watch
13, Ole
Iowa.
Miss going on the road to play Auburn. Michigan going on the road to play their rivals, Michigan State. Probably not going to be a contest, though. Duke and Florida State. That one will be fun to watch. Utah and USC, as Lucas mentioned earlier. And then, is Clemson Miami even worth mentioning?
Probably not.
Yeah, really. So we're on limited time here, fellas. So I'm gonna try and just go around the room and ask who you think's gonna win the games, or at least the most important ones. So Penn State, Ohio State, noon. Ohio State coming in as a 4.5-point favorite. Who do you think's winning that game?
It's in the horseshoe, ain't it? Or is it at Penn State? I'll probably take Ohio State as much as it pains me to say it.
I don't know. I'll probably go with Penn State because I've heard a lot of good things about Penn State this year.
Not so fast, my friend.
But
turns out Lucas actually agrees.
but one thing I will say is that I do hope Penn State wins. So I will be gladly happy.
Well, Penn State has looked like the much more impressive team to me. Now, we haven't seen. Well, actually, I take that back. Juilo performed pretty well against what was a good Iowa defense. Kyle McCord hasn't necessarily been tested yet. Maryland was decent, but I think they were fool's gold. I think Penn State's going to go into the horseshoe and get the dub over Ohio State. That's my general consensus on that. Let's see what else we got here. UCF and Oklahoma. So UCF 3-3, traveling on the road to play number 6 Oklahoma. OU favored by 19 points. You guys think they cover that?
Well, okay. Yeah, it's Oklahoma versus who again?
Up against UCF at home.
Yeah, by the way, UCF is playing right now. I would say yeah, but also never count out Gus Malzahn to pull off.
Good night, Mr. Yes, sir. Glad you got to stick on the stream for a little while. All right.
Like I said, I would never bet anything against Gus Malzahn when he's in a fucking corner.
That is true. Lucas, your thoughts?
Not only do I think UCF covers, I think they win outright.
Stop. Don't do that to yourself. You're gonna get humiliated next week when we look back at these predictions.
You know what? I'm just joking, but you know what? Nah, I'm gonna stick with it.
UCF got stomped by Kansas a couple of weeks ago, so
gotta pick one upset.
Wait, this ain't really embarrassing, but people said it was embarrassing because I got a DM about it from Miami fans, and whenever I said into space that I said I think Miami, even after starting 4-0, after they start 4-0, I said I could see y'all losing the next 2 games, and he's like, "Oh, we're not gonna lose to Georgia Tech." I was like,
"Yeah, well,"
I was like, don't count against Georgia Tech. Brenke always has one of these games where the team plays good, and I said also I would never put it past Mario Cristobal to lose to an inferior team.
The results have happened. Hold on a second.
And I was right, and they lost their next 2 games, and now people have stopped DMing me about my bad Miami takes because I was right.
So, all right, on to the next game here. This one isn't really worth talking about, but it is an SEC matchup. South Carolina 2-4, going on the road to play number 20 Missouri, who's 6-1, and Mizzou is favored by 6.5. Who do y'all think's winning that?
All right. It was Missouri versus who? Sorry. it's Missouri. It's at Missouri,
yeah.
right? Or is it at South Carolina? Okay, yeah, Missouri. Give me Missouri.
I'm probably gonna take I'm gonna take Missouri. I'm not gonna be I'm not gonna be smoking crack anymore, I guess. But yeah, I'm gonna take Missouri. I think they're the
Give
real
me what's probably
Columbia
going to
school.
be the 5th Super Bowl champs, because South Carolina will have 5 losses after this game. Give me Missouri to win that game. All right. Let's see what else we got here. I mean, there's some really good games, but just all the others are kind of sleepers. Ole Miss 5-1, ranked number 13, or 6-point favorites on the road in Jordan Hare against Auburn. Who do y'all have winning that game?
Okay,
on the
on
road
the
at
road.
Auburn. Ole Miss versus Auburn. Who's winning?
God, I don't really want either of them to
Yeah,
win.
Rooting for the Meteor.
Yeah. But I think I'll probably take Lane at this point. I mean, but it also would never surprise me if Lane loses to a team he shouldn't lose against. Which I've already said that before, but it's like with certain coaches, there's always certain coaches that always lose to random fucking teams they have
And
no
thus
business
is the
losing
story. Lucas, your take?
You know what? Honestly, this one smells like an upset. This one honestly smells like an
I'd be
shocked,
shocked,
give me Auburn.
But it's possible. Yeah, give me Ole Miss to win this game. I just don't see Auburn doing it. But I think whatever. What was the spread again? Let me look back and see. But it's definitely plausible that Auburn makes this a close game. Ole Miss favored by 6. Give me Auburn to cover. I think it'll come down to the wire, but I do have Ole Miss winning the game. All right, number 16 Duke on the road going to number 4 Florida State. Florida State favored by 2 touchdowns in this matchup in Tallahassee. Who's coming out with the dub?
Florida State. As much as I would love to say Duke, after I don't even know if it's Riley Leonard back.
I think he might be back, but I'll double check on that. Lucas, you have a take?
Listen, I don't care. Duke by a million. I don't care. I'm on the Duke hype train.
Here's the thing. Now, if Duke was undefeated, I would definitely say it's a lot closer. For Riley Leonard, if I knew his status right now, if he was, fully healthy and I already had an injury or whatever, I would probably still say Florida State wins, but probably, only by like 3 points or something. But
yeah,
I
Riley
think,
Leonard ain't gonna be there for this game, so
Florida
we
State
can
will
go ahead
probably
and throw that one out.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
Because I was on the Duke hype train too, but they got derailed.
Give me Florida
by Notre
State
Dame.
in this one. I think they proved that they belong in national contention. People have been doubting Florida State. I think the Seminoles get it done, but we'll see. All right, number 14 Utah against number 18 USC. The Trojans coming in as a 5-point favorite. Lucas, you already think Utah's winning.
Yeah, you already know. You already know.
I want Utah to win, but it's such a weird game because you got one team that has all offense, no defense, and then you have the other team that's practically all defense, no offense.
Yeah, no. I think this is Utah's thing. I think this is Utah. Utah is the real not Miami.
You'll get a minute to say it because we're covering Miami Clemson right after this, but yeah.
But
it is.
God, that's such a hard one to pick.
But it's at home for USC. I'm gonna go ahead and say, and this is what I predicted in the offseason. No reason to think otherwise here. But I think this will be a close game, but USC pulls it out and gets the W and gets revenge.
Yeah. I think they'll do it mostly just because Cam Rising's not there. Now, if Cam Rising's there, I think Utah will win. If he's even somewhere near healthy, which I don't think he is.
Yeah, we'll find out.
When Utah wins this game, I want you guys to forever pick Utah over USC.
If they do without Cam Rising, that's exactly what I'll do.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'll start doing it from now on because then that'll just be Lincoln Riley,
I guess so.
Kansas State.
Yeah. All right. Now for the last game that we'll cover before we get to the big one. Clemson and Miami, both teams 4-2. Miami's 0-2 in the ACC. Clemson's 2-2. The Tigers are favored by 2.5 points. Who do you have winning this one?
Oh God, I think God, this is a hard one because right now it's kind of like who's gonna
Yeah.
try to
Well, it's just
choke
a
this
matter of
game
whether or
away.
not Tyler Van Dyke can really, because I think Miami's got the better offense by a country mile. It's just a matter of whether or not they can handle Clemson's defense.
Yeah.
It's in
Where
Hard
is it at?
Rock Stadium. That doesn't really mean anything. That's like playing.
Oh
Yeah, that's
God,
like yeah,
I
Yeah,
that's like
know,
playing in the
not
that's
desert.
really, but
yeah. The stadium's like
Yeah,
30
yeah, it's like
minutes
playing like
away from their
at a
campus.
desert. There ain't nobody
uh,
in sight.
mm, all right, give me
All
Clemson.
right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Give me Clemson as well. Miami fan, even though it's in Miami,
Right.
Miami fans don't
Exactly.
show up well.
Yeah, and I know some Miami fans be like, "Oh, you're a hater" or whatever, but no, it's just that even though I know Dabo makes dumb decisions too, he's at least got a good enough consistent enough defense, and we've seen Clemson's offense click sometimes. But it's just a matter of if the offense can finally, hit its stride finally. But I think if their offense can actually start clicking a little bit, then I feel like, Clemson will do fine. But I'm still going to take Clemson, but I don't think Miami's really that bad of a team. I just think
Yeah,
it's mostly
maybe.
coaching.
We shall find out about that one, though. I do think that. But yeah, those are all the, I guess, decent games to watch. I mean, there could be some upsets. There could be some games that turn out to be more interesting than we thought. But I'm not going to spend too much time talking about other games that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But now, the moment we've been waiting for. We got to talk about this one before we wrap up the show here. Number 17, Tennessee, going on the road to play number 11 Alabama. The Vols beat the Crimson Tide last season, and it was a phenomenal showing. One of the greatest moments of my lifetime as a Tennessee fan, and I'm sure you guys can share the same sentiment. Where were you guys when Tennessee beat Bama?
Well,
I was at my uncle's house.
Nice.
yeah, I was here in my house upstairs, and I made a video
Oh
reacting
yeah.
to the game-winning
Oh yeah.
field goal.
You gotta do that in heated moments like that. It's only right, and I'm glad you did that. So yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, you get. I
Oh,
said, yeah, you get a lot
absolutely.
of views from
So
it.
now Bama, of course, is looking for revenge. The fans are going to be ready to, jump around and celebrate this one if they can get the win. Tennessee looked terrible on offense last week, but Bama had troubles of their own. They couldn't put Arkansas away. They were up by a decent margin, and then just out of nowhere, Arkansas gets everybody together, makes it a competitive game, and Bama only wins by 3 points at the end of it. So both some struggle wins for both of these teams, but I would say right now Bama looks like the more impressive team, and Vegas seems to agree. They've got Bama as a 9.5 point favorite over Tennessee. It's going to be interesting to see if the Vols can rally up the troops and get this win. What do y'all think is going to happen?
Personally, to me, I think the 9.5 might be a little bit too big. I mean, not saying that Tennessee's gonna win or anything. I think it's gonna be closer than 9 points. I think honestly, both these teams are pretty similar to me. I don't know if it's just me, but both these teams are actually pretty similar to me. Both pretty good defenses so far this year. Offenses, I would probably say about the same, honestly. Although Bama's probably is looking a little bit better than ours, but still, Bama's offense hasn't really impressed me. Jalen Milrow, he's had some good moments, but I can never figure
Yeah.
out if he's good or not. uh, I don't know. I don't know. Both teams to me honestly seem very similar. I'm surprised the spread is as big as it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. God. All right, fuck it. I'm gonna say it. We're beating
I
up the
like the
pest solution.
spirit. I like the spirit. Well, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't have a prediction on this one. I don't have a general consensus. I don't know what's going to happen. Because you can't predict whether or not the coaches are going to be smart enough to say something's got to change after that A&M game. Let's start a new quarterback. You don't know if that's going to, happen. So it's tough to say. But I'm sticking with Julio right here. I think the Vols suddenly look really good on offense. I think this is going to be another close game. I think both offenses are going to be better than they've shown the last few weeks. This is going to be a tight game. Both defenses are going to play really good, but I think Bama stalls out enough to where Tennessee can capitalize, get the job done, and get the W. So therefore, I have Tennessee winning this game, and we'll see how it plays out.
One thing I will say, I feel like Tennessee, whenever our offensive line actually plays really well, because I know sometimes we struggle, but for the most part, we're pretty good for the most part of the time. I feel like if our offensive line plays well and just doesn't do what it did against Florida and just, keep on shooting itself in the foot and actually just play the game and not get rattled, I feel like Tennessee can run the ball on them because I feel like Alabama, like I said this before, I know the defense is better, but I still don't think it's up to, the Bama standard of what they would say the Bama standard is. And I think this is the first time in a long time where I think you could argue Tennessee has a better defensive line
it's definitely possible. Yeah. I heard it from a lot of Bama fans that this is a very young Bama team, but I'm not buying that excuse because it seems like Bama fans have been saying that every year since 2021.
Yeah, Jalen's he's a junior, I think, ain't he? Sophomore redshirt,
right?
So he's a junior anyway. But that's the thing. It's just that I don't, like I said, like Lucas said, it's kind of like a battle of practically doppelgangers because I feel like we both kind of have the same problem. Except for the only thing I will say, I feel like Alabama would be a lot better if they would stick to the run, which is what Tennessee and them were doing. I feel like with Alabama, they're trying to make Melrose pass a lot more than what he should. And here's the thing. It did well in the Arkansas game because, he went 7 of 10 for like 3 touchdowns in the first half. But then they did it in the second half, and they literally almost chucked away the game.
You never know what's going to happen. That's what I'll say. All right, fellas. Well, we've gone over an hour, and, the traffic in the live chat has gone down significantly, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. So you guys got any finalizing thoughts for the crew?
Nope, just go Vols, and we're going to beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa.
All right. Well, I got to say, go Vols, and,
oh, yeah.
Their shirt says it for itself.
Send that to me through the mail.
Wait, what do you show? Because I was not looking. Oh, Buck Fama. Oh, talking bullshit.
Yeah, I got this from a thing. But yeah, Buck Fama, go Vols, and we're beating Bama next week. At least hopefully we do because my uncle's a Alabama fan, and we need to beat them.
I think y'all would agree with me on this, but until further notice, Alabama sucks. Nick Saban sucks. Jalen Milroe sucks. The entire team sucks. And they're going to suck this Saturday when the Vols go in and put the absolute whooping of a lifetime on the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yeah, Nick Saban's a washed coach.
I'm going to drop a feed later on this week, probably tomorrow, for all of the people who want to send me Alabama memes. I'm going to put on the Alabama hate video this Friday. So I've got a lot planned for that video. Don't you worry. There's going to be some great stuff on it. So until that video comes out, or at least until I make my next video, probably my pick'ems, I've got that coming out Tuesday. And then after that, of course, I'll do my in-depth preview and then the hate video right afterwards. So stay tuned for all that stuff. And Bama sucks too. I didn't know if you guys knew that or not. So yeah. Before we leave, you guys got anything going on over on your place, your Twitter places, anywhere else?
Nope. I was inactive for the bye week because I was on vacation.
Well, good to have you here.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all did
We
a
did,
show while I was gone,
but
so
it's good to have you back, Mr. Julio.
yeah, thanks. Oh, I also went through West Virginia on the way back, and I never realized how beautiful West Virginia was because we just had to drive back
Yeah.
the scenic way.
Is it really almost? Is it really almost heaven, like Denver says?
I will say it definitely is beautiful. It reminds me a lot of it definitely reminds me a lot of Tennessee and
Yeah.
everything because you know you got all the mountains and everything. Definitely think it's more mountainous
Yeah.
than Tennessee.
Well, all right. Great show, fellas. We're gonna shut this thing down. And if it weren't for YouTube, if they would shut me down for this, but I would love to play some Dixieland Delight right now because that is a song about Tennessee. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but that is the case. All right. Well, you guys,
Yeah.
any other finalizing thoughts? All right. Well,
Nope.
see you guys later, and thank you guys in the comment section for watching. We'll see you all next week on the Volstar podcast. I may move this to a Monday, but we'll see about that. We'll have to figure that one out down the line. But until the next stream, I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream or whatever we do here on the Volstar podcast. And as always, power to Tardaria, and more importantly, go Vols. We're putting the whooping on the Alabama Crimson Tide. I can guarantee you that.